From the Newstalk ZB newsroom, this is Newsfix.
In this update, Winston Peters describes protesters at his State of the Nation speech as anti-democratic and fascist. The New Zealand First Leader gave a one-hour address today, interrupted around half a dozen times by demonstrators. Mr. Peters told reporters it was a demonstration against freedom of speech and lawful assembly.
They could have called their own meeting, paid for it, did the advertising and got their point away. But no, they thought they'd disrupt ours. That is fascism.
Asked later if protesters gave him something to push back on, Mr. Peters said that was right.
I said it's like Elvis was saying in a song, looking for trouble, you've come to the right place.
There's been a serious single-vehicle crash in Clutha's Owaka. Emergency services were sent to the incident on Owaka Valley Road shortly before 3 this afternoon. The road is closed and the serious crash unit will examine the scene. Calls to give Kaingaora more power to evict unruly tenants. A tenant has been allowed to stay in their Whangarei property despite 25 complaints of antisocial behaviour, 6 formal warnings and an alleged shooting. Open Justice reports the Tenancy Tribunal denied the eviction based on the complaints being anonymous and a lack of evidence. ACT Housing spokesperson Cameron Luxton says the threshold for evidence is not fit for the current situation.
As part of a functioning community to accept people in happily, we need to make sure that the settings are right, and the Tenancy Tribunal settings on having evidence clearly aren't right.
The psychological scars of 14 years of civil war have left their mark on Syria's children. World Vision says millions of children have grown up knowing nothing but conflict and now carry deep trauma with only limited access to mental health support. Global uncertainty surrounding aid is casting further doubt, with the crisis response plan already heavily underfunded. World Vision's Belinda Robb says we need to invest in children's well-being to break the cycle of poverty.
If we don't, we're going to risk losing a generation of children to this trauma, and we need them to be thriving in order to build the future Syria that we want to see.
That's news. In sport, the White Ferns are chasing 205 to beat Australia in their second T20 cricket game at Mount Maunganui, Australia posting 204 for 3. The pressure is on Liam Lawson in tonight's Chinese Grand Prix as he starts the 56-lap race from the back of the grid. His introduction at Red Bull Racing's been a struggle with limited time in the car and technical problems in Australia last week. Former Red Bull driver Mark Webber says Lawson needs to finish in the points, otherwise the drums will keep beating.
Liam, replaced Sergio because they needed those extra points and start to contribute to the Constructors' Championship, because that's huge for the teams. They need 2 consistent drivers, so that's where the pressure can mount. As long as he's contributing to the points in a healthy fashion, then he will be under no pressure.
That's sport. I'm Joe Gilfillan.
For more news, listen to Newstalk ZB live on iHeartRadio.